bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yattam Yatkim Chis Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Yapi Yat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. So we are doing the Pancadasi, second chapter. We are at the sloka 95, where Vijayaranya, using the Panchabhuta Viveka, where he discussed first the 5 subtle elements, the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, and Vayu, Jalam, and Prithvi, Agni. So all those involves essentially the starting from the Maya, and Maya before that, what was there before is the existence, Sat aspect of it. So Sat and then Maya, and from Maya then it's Akasha, from Akasha Vayu, Vayu Agni, Agni Apaha, Apa Prithvi. And these are, as they are forming, they are gaining the property of previous one and also an additional property. So from the point of Maya, Maya is that which is not there but appears to be there, which is essentially Shakti Swarupam, which is essentially appearing as though that Ishvara has that property as the power to create, and that is what is Maya. So when from Maya we talk about Akasha, Akasha inheres the 2 properties, one from the Brahman, which is Sat, existent property, when we say Akasha is, and in addition to that it also acquires the property of Maya, which is, that means it is Mithya, and in addition to that its own property, which is Shabdam, which one can detect, where spatially one can locate it based on the Shabdam. So Shabda becomes a property of Akasha. So from Akasha, Vayu acquires all other previous properties of each of those, that is Sat part of it from the Brahman, and the Maya part, Mithya part from the Maya, and Shabda part from the Akasha, but it's its own property, that is the Sparsha. So like that each one has been discussed. So every time it acquires additional property besides the previous properties of the other elements from which it has come. But all other properties are not countable other than the pure existence part, because that is the one that is really real and everything else is only Mithya. So therefore I had to use the Viveka, that means the discriminative intellect, in each element to find out what is the real part and what is apparently real part or Mithya part. And the Brahman part, which is the substantive from which it came from, is the real part, and other things are only mithya. So this discriminative analysis has to be done in the field when you are encountering all these five elements. Then only I can see the Sat aspect of it as the reality as I am transacting with these Panchabhutas. These are subtle elements, and by grossification they have become gross elements, that is Panchikarana process, from which the whole Brahmanda has been created. The whole universe is created from that, and from that we have created about the lokas and all that. So in the 95th sloka, the sloka says, Prutak Prudayam Sattayam Bhumir Mithya Visishyati Bhumir Mithya Visishyati Bhumir Dasham Sato Nyunam Brahmandam Bhumi Madhyagam. So after recognizing the Sat part of it, which is as a real in the Bhumi, in the earth, that means there are two parts. One is the everything else which is Mithya, and which the substantive is the Satyam, and by discriminative analysis, after recognizing or realizing that the Bhumi, the earth that we see as basically is the real part and unreal part, after having done that, then we are going to the next level of Panchabhutas, where the grossification of all the world that are formed, and that is Brahmandam Bhumi Madhyagam. So this whole universe of Brahmandam means it's like an egg, as though it is enclosed egg, because it's limited by the Sat. Sat is Maya. Each one is 1/9 of the previous one, therefore it is limited one, and it's called Andam. Andam is like an egg, and that's called whole Brahmandam. And in the Brahmandam, there are 14 lokas that he discusses in the 96. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's chant sloka 96. Brahmanda madhye tishtanti, Brahmanda madhye tishtanti, Bhuvanani chaturdasha, Bhuvanani chaturdasha, Bhuvaneshu vasanteshu, Bhuvaneshu vasanteshu, Prani deha yatha yatham, Prani deha yatha yatham. Together. Brahmanda madhye tishtanti, Bhuvanani chaturdasha, Bhuvaneshu vasanteshu, Prani deha yatha yatham. So in this Brahmanda total of the gross world now we are talking about, there are 14 lokas have been created, one after the other. 14 lokas are, there are 7 lokas up and 7 lokas down. We are almost in the middle. So as you go to heavenly, you are going up into the higher lokas. And in each loka, there are transactional bodies and everything also are there, just as here. So depending upon the punyam and papam ratio, you are moved to a different levels in this. And Bhuvaneshu, Chaturdasha Bhuvaneshu, 14 lokas have been created. And along with Prani Deha Yatha, along with the lives, with the bodies, corresponding bodies in those lokas are also Yatha Yatam, appropriately in each loka has been created. And all that is from the gross world of your body is part of the gross. And according to the Upanishad, after creating the gross body, then as though Jiva enters into it, because Jiva is not created, Jiva is eternal, it is created, it enters, Upavishati, it enters into the how. Just as when I create my dream world, I create the whole universe, Brahmandam there, and as though I enter into that as a part of it, as a Jiva. Therefore, it is essentially entering, is essentially identifying with the local BMI as I am this. Okay? You need the body in order to, you need the physical body in order to experience that world. Otherwise, you won't be able to experience. So, in each loka, you will be given a body, appropriate body for that loka to experience the objects and people there in that loka. Okay, 97. Brahmanda loke deheshu sadvastuni prutakrute asantondadaya bhantu asantondadayo bhantu tadbhani piha kakshitaha kakshitihi kshatihi taddani piha kakshatihi together. Brahmanda loke deheshu sadvastuni prutakrute asantondadayo bhantu tadbhani piha kakshatihi. So Brahmanda loka deheshu, and all the bodies in this whole Brahmandam, and all the lokas and all that, sadvastuni, what is there still common? The existence is still pervading in all this. So Brahmandam is, this loka is, so this deha is. So isness is the very substantive which, because the whole universe started, because originally only existence alone was there, and from that everything else came. Therefore the essential aspect is still common for all, but only things that are changing is now grossification and all that is only names and forms with along with the properties. Forms include all the properties. So Prutakriti, so having discriminated that, it means I have to discriminate in everything. There are two things. One is the Sat, another is the Asat part. Asat part is each name and a form and all that. The Sat part is the Brahman. So they always are going to get together, because whatever I see or whatever I perceive or whatever I experience is always with these two. So the problem is now I cannot see Brahman. Brahman cannot be seen because it is infinite. I can only see finite things, but in these finite things I had to use discrimination. There is no choice for me now. I had to use the discrimination, viveka, to separate what is the real part and what is unreal part. And since it's unreal part, you ignore it, and what is the real part is what you pay attention. And what's the real part? It is Sat. And in that real part there cannot be any distinctions of any kind, because Sat is the Sajati Vijati Swagada Veda Rahitam. There is no distinctions of any kind. Therefore my attention should be, while transacting, I am transacting with the names and forms, but understanding is also that it is nothing but Brahman only. So that knowledge has to be there. All this is only meant for that. So Asanta is essentially Mithya, Asanta Andadayoho. So all this Brahmanda Adayoho means etc. from Brahmanda to all the lokas to dehas, everything else. So all gods, everything, everywhere, all the way from Hiranyagarbha to Rakshasas, although down. Everybody is nothing but names and forms only. But in and through there is the existence, that is the Lord is there in everyone. You can say Lord is the form of existence. So Asanta Bhantu. So one has to be, Asanta is Mithya aspect has to be recognized in all these things that you encounter. Tadbhani api iha kakshatihi. So what is that? There is nothing lost in the process. You can still recognize and transact with the world, but also recognize the oneness that pervades, and for that only you need a viveka. Viveka means intelligently I have to discriminate, because physically I cannot separate it. Table and existence is there. I cannot separate the table and then show you existence, because when I try with table, there won't be any table there, because table has to exist. So I cannot remove the existence out of the table to show what is existence and what is really table, which is there is no validity for table without the existence. Therefore, using and looking at the table, I had to see the God there. Follow now? this is true, then that means everything becomes really a vigraham for us, an idol for us to see the Lord. Not only the upstairs, the idol where we are looking, everything is nothing but name and a form plus existence. So that is a training there, but I should develop an attitude to see the Lord everywhere. Okay? That's what. So nothing is lost by having, because we can still transact it in the world. At the same time, it is mithya, is recognized. So people ask question, particularly they think, if everything is mithya, how do you have a bhakti? You can still have a bhakti, because bhakti is also the same order of reality as the object. You can have, in fact, better bhakti because you can see the Lord in everything. Bhakti involves not only seeing the Lord in the vigraham that you are upasana, because the Vedanta itself says, Nedam yadidam upasate. It's not that what you are worshipping is God, that which because of which that exists, that is God. So that has to be recognized. Okay. I'm going through because we went through all this process. So I'm going through quickly rather. So let's take sloka 98. Bhuta bhautika nayanam asatvetyanta vasite asatvetyanta vasite sadvastvadvaitamityesha sadvastvadvaitamityesha dhirviparyeta nakvachitu nakvachitu. Okay, together. Bhuta bhautika nayanam asatvetyanta vasite sadvastvadvaitamityesha dhihi aparyeti nakvachitu. So esha dhihi, you have to stop there. Esha dhihi viparyeti nakvachitu. The sandhi is there. Dhir viparyeti nakvachitu. Okay. Bhuta bhautika mayanam. Bhuta bhautika mayanam. The bhuta and bhautika. Bhuta is panchabhutas, 5 subtle elements. Bhautika, the grossification of that. Now he is summarizing the whole thing, because he went through subtle elements and then he went through gross elements. He went through lokas and the devas and the bodies. All that, if you look completely, if you look, all are nothing but essentially is maya only. That's essentially mithya. So asatve vasiti atyanta. So asatvam means the non-reality. Here it means it's a mithyatvam aspect has been. See, atyanta is essentially, absolutely, that you are realized, recognized by sadvastu advaitam iti. They essentially sadvastu, that which is non-duality, is pervading in all these things that we are talking about. So yesha dhihi, that with that understanding, once you have gained that, nakvachit viparyeti, so that will never do. Once I understand that this knowledge has taken place, now once you understand it, you never lose this knowledge. But now, as J.K. puts it, it's not an understanding as a thought, but it's an understanding and as an understanding as a fact. So I have to see that. That's why Viveka has to be used at each level to have the discriminative intellect to develop. How you do it, that's what our topic is going to be, the next application of Gita. Okay, at least this is, at least we should have the understanding. So that is the absolute knowledge. This is Atyantam. This is essentially, that is the highest knowledge. There is nothing else can be known after that, or need to be known, or is also there to know also. Once we understood, that is the end of it. End of knowledge. Okay, let's take 99. Sadadvaitat pruthak bhute. Sadadvaitat pruthak bhute. Huh?
Pruthak bhute.
Yeah, pruthak bhute.
Right, pruthak bhute.
Yeah. What did you have? Oh, krute is it?
Yeah, pruthak bhute.
Pruthak?
Sadadvaitat pruthak krute.
Krute is a bhute actually. Krute is in some books of that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bhute. What book are you doing? Oh, yeah, it could be krute also because some books also have said that.
Oh.
Okay.
But pruthak will become an action, right? So
Yeah.
if you
It's a-
put action model, you get that.
Yeah, it's by act means it's a recognition. Essentially, we'll see what it means. Okay. Sadadvaitat pruthak bhute.
Sadadvaitat pruthak bhute.
Dvaita bhumyadi rupini. Dvaite bhumyadi rupini. Bhumyadi rupini. Tattadartha kriya loke. Tadartha kriya loke. Yatha drushta tathaiva sa. Together. Sadatadvaitat pruthak bhute. Dvaite bhumyadi rupini. Tattadartha kriya loke. Yada drushta tathaiva sa. So after having gained that knowledge, that means after becoming a jnani, how does he operate? Essentially, you talk about the sita prajna. How is he transacting? What does he see? That's what we are now addressing. So it is essentially the phalam or the fruits of this knowledge is what is discussed here. So what do I do after that? If you have the question of what do I do after that, means you have not recognized that yet. I know I have studied, because then what do I do now? That means study some more because it has not been understood what it is to be done. So what it implication is Sat Advaitat Pruthak Bhute. From Advaita point, so one Bhute means having realized, Krute means having understood. It is also from the action wise, or it's from the understanding wise. So Sat Advaitat, that the Sat existence which is non-real, non-dual. So everything is nothing but Sat only. That means everything is nothing but Brahman. And having understood that, then what do I see? Dvaite bhumyadi rupini. So I see the world or not? So this is a big discussions in some of these. Once I recognize that I am the totality, I am the Brahman, then he is not going to see any of this world because he is not there anymore. So that's also possible. But what has to, once I recognize that I am the total, but still I can see the duality or the plurality, but I do not have any more misconceptions that the plurality is reality. I can still see it, but in the case of this not happens in the dream world. So when I recognize, only when I get out of the dream world, I say that was not real, right? As long as I am in the dream state with the BMI, it's still there. You may teach all Vedanta, I will be still thinking that is because there I do not have the discriminative viveka that is required to discriminate what is real part and what is unreal part. Because that's why this is viveka is required. While seeing duality, I have to see what is the reality. That viveka has to be developed by sadhana, by constant contemplation of the study of the scriptures, remembering the scriptures and applying the scriptures when I am transacting in the world. Okay? Otherwise it will not be there. It will be there only in the classroom. Otherwise it will not be applicable. So therefore, Sad Advaita Pruthak Bhute, the differences of this, what you see, after realizing the oneness that pervades the whole universe, Dvaite Bhumi Adi Rupini, all the forms and names of from Bhumi, earth, etc., all the things that are Panchabhutas, Bhuta, Bhautika, all that. Tat Arthakriya loke yatha drushta tathaiva sa. You will be still seeing what you saw before as tattat, exactly as that. Means bhumi will be still, water will be still, agni will be still, as that you will be seeing, but you have the vision that this is only apparently, transactionally real, but absolute real that supports all this is the Brahman, that Satswarupam. I will be still seeing the ring and the bangle and the necklace and the bracelet, but still now I have an understanding it is nothing but gold, 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 gold only. There is no difference in the gold, even though there is a difference between the ring and the bangle and the necklace. We can easily apply for ring and bangle, but we don't be able to apply it when we talk about table and people and hum and her and all that. We see only superficial names and forms, attributes, qualities, all that, and get carried away with it. So this is what as a Jnani will do. Jnani will still see the plurality, but now he understands the plurality is not really reality. He operates in that. So he will be hungry, he will be getting, he will be doing everything as you are, as before. So there is no difference. Therefore, I cannot say who is a Jnani, who is not Jnani, because a Jnani also operates the same way, Ajnani also. But one's understanding is different. Okay, that has to be understood. So the experience of the duality, the transaction, arthakriya. Arthakriya means the kriya, the meaningful application of each. That means garbage is still be garbage, food is to be food, and food has to be human. Arthakriya means proper utility of each one of them. Ring has to be used only as a ring only, even though I know it is gold, which is not different from a bangle. Ring can only be as a ring, and a bangle can only be used as a bangle. So that is arthakriya. That means operational utility of particular each one. He is useful this way and he is useless that way, even though both are gods. Okay? So that understanding I should have it in the application. So tattat and yatha yatha drushta tathaiva sa, in the same way that will be operating. So what is changing is only my vision of the reality only. Just as a scientist understands it's electron, protons, neutrons, at the same time he differentiates garbage and the food also. Just because it's electron, proton, he is not going to eat. So people ask, oh, you are Advaitin, so you should eat. You should drink poison because it's all same God. So one has to be careful in terms of transactional. Vyavaharika Satyam is different from Paramarthika Satyam. It means understanding why. Okay. That tells you about the Advaitic knowledge will not change the transactional knowledge. So that's why the Mahatmas can still be able to teach. Is still the distinction of who is a student, who is not a student, who is all that will be there. Okay, otherwise there will not be any teacher left. Okay, so this is the essence of actually, but that also means that we cannot distinguish who is Mahatma and who is not Mahatma. So don't go into evaluation of this teacher is Mahatma and that teacher is realized and all that, because there is no way. If you get help, that's good. If you not help, put namaskaram and leave. Okay, so other people are there to get help. Okay. Now he is going to analyze a little bit other people's philosophical outlook. Sankhyakanada Bodhyadhyaihi Sankhyakanada Bodhyadhyaihi Jagat Bedo Yatha Yatha Jagat Bedo Yatha Yatha Utprechate Neka Yuktya Utprechate Neka Yuktya Bhavatvesha Tatha Tatha Bhavatvesha Tatha Tatha. Together. Sankhyakanada Bodhyadhyaihi Jagat Bedo Yatha Yatha Utprechate Neka Yuktya Bhavatvesha Tatha Tatha. So here he is quoting several other philosophical traditions. Sankhya include yoga and Sankhya, both they go together. The Kanada is Kanada Muni, who proposed the Vaiseshika. So there's a Nyaya Vaiseshika, there are two together, Nyaya and Vaiseshika. Nyaya is by Gautama and Kanada is the Vaiseshika. And Kana means broken rice. So he was eating broken rice and living. So he used to go to fields, and after they took out whatever leftover rice, on that he was living. And because his mind is somewhere, and he was producing a philosophical tradition in the process, great Mahatma. So that is Kanada, means that which is source by which Kanada's Rishi's philosophy is called Kanada. Bauddha, Buddhi philosophy, Buddhi, Jaina, all are included. And Ajyahi, etc., etc. Jagat Vedo Yatha Yatha. So if you go to those philosophies, they will discuss about different categories involved in the whole according to the philosophical traditions. So if you look at Sankhya, they have maybe 24 or 25 primordial elements. They called the dravyas. And if you go to yoga, no, it's not 25, it is 26. They start arguing about 25 to 26. And if you go to Nyaya Vaiseshika, Nyaya says there are 7 elements, 7 important things. And Vaiseshika, no, there are 8. So they keep on arguing about why 8 should be. Another fellow says, why not 6? So they'll again argue with the other guy. So logical, and they spend, it's not simple, no, it's not just, they try to support it by many supporting arguments. So Jagat Vedaha. So differences in the all words. So what does Advaitin look at it? Says, okay, you are right, he is right, he is right, he is right. Because we don't care how many things, because everything is mithya only. So you're trying to classify, you say what kind of snake it is, because we know it is a rope. So what kind of snake, what phylum it comes and what is it? Okay, this is a poisonous snake, and no, this is not poisonous, it's only semi-poisonous, and so on. You can differentiate whatever. We say, we agree with you, we agree with you, we agree with you. So they get irritated with Advaita and says, you take some stand, because you cannot agree with anybody. So it says, Utprechate. So if they have essentially have classified each one their philosophies in Jagat Veda in so many ways, says let that be. We don't care. Okay, you have classified, that's good. You think it's 7? Okay, that's all right. From your point, okay, if you think these are 7, okay, that's okay with us. So we have no conflicts from the point of Advaitin doesn't have any problem. Bhavatveshu tada tada bhavatu esha. So esha tata tada. As they can be, let that be. Whatever you think it is, let that be so. So we have no problem, because everything is mithya. So that is the fundamental. So for us, we have only 2 categories. Atma, Anatma. Is it duality? No, it's not duality, because Anatma is not really real. What really is only that which counts. That is, like we have a chair plus existence. There are 2 things. Chair is not really real. What is really is existence. Like that we have Sat and Asat. What about God? If God is there or not? We have only 2 categories. Sat, Asat. Atma, Anatma. Atma ityopasita. That's what is the, those who came for the, what was that? Camp, Upanishad, camp, we discussed that, right? So Atma iti eva upas, there is nothing else other than Atma. So whatever it is, only mithya. So that's all our point is. And it says you are ignoring all this. That's why they complain that we are ignoring all these classifications. So the whole world you are ignoring it. It says we are ignoring the whole world, but you are ignoring the essence. Because you are carrying away with this, but forgetting that what is Sat, which is pervading everywhere, you are ignoring, and you are only trying to differentiate only superficial things. And that's what is being said in the next sloka. Avajñātam sadadvaitam, avajñātam sadadvaitam, Nishankai anyavadibihi, Nishankai anyavadibihi, Evam kakshatirasmakam, evam kakshatirasmakam tadvaitamavajanatam tadvaitamavajanatam. Together. Avajñātam sadadvaitam nishankai anyavadivihi evam kakshati rasmakam tadadvaitam avajanatam. So anyavadivihi, anya means all other arguments other than the Advaita. That means all the Dvaitins and so on. There are Dvaita, there is a Visishta Advaita, there is Advaita Advaita. All varieties of arguments are there presented in our analysis. It's important once in a way, if you go through that, you see how much people have spent so much thinking about it, at the same time missing the essential point also. But if you also miss the essential point, we are also one of them only, right? So that has to be understood. So Sat Advaitam, that essentially the existence as the non-dual existence, avajñātam, is having ignored that all these people are arguing the real, which is Advaitam, that Sat part. So Sadvaitam avajanatam. So the believers of this duality also spend evam, thus kanchati asmakam. So if they are spending all that, what do we got to lose about it? Let them spend every time. If we can educate them, that's good. If not, leave them, they will evolve themselves. So don't get into arguments with them. That's what the implication is. People are going to argue, particularly Dvaitins if you go, they will vehemently argue with you. So just let him be. He is comfortable, it's okay. But we know we have two things, Dvaita, and it is non-duality is not monoism. It is what I see is duality, but we negate the reality to the duality. Therefore, it is Advaita. Okay? So specifically, it is Advaita means Dvaitam is there, but it is not really real. Therefore, we put I in front of it. Okay. Go to 1 or 2. Dvaitavajñāsu sthita chet, Dvaitavajñāsu sthita chet, Advaite dhi sthira bhavet, Advaite dhi sthira bhavet, Stairye tasya pumaneshu, Stairye tasya pumaneshu, Jivan mukta itiryate, Jivan mukta itiryate. Together. Dvaitavajñāsu sthita chet, Advaite dhi sthira bhavet, Stairye tasya pumanesha, Jivan mukta itiryate. So Dvaita avajñā. So avajñā means jnana means avajñā means discarding this Dvaitam, discarding the duality of the duality position, means discarding the superficial appearance as only superficial, and sustitaha, so having firmly, essentially establishing Advaite dhihi sthira bhavet, having rejected the duality as not a reality firmly, and establishing ourselves in the Advaita aspect, having rejected the Dvaita, the superficial names and forms, and firmly abiding in the knowledge, dhihi, with the using intellect, Advaite sthira bhavet, abidance in this knowledge that I am, this. Basically, sthira means the existence alone is what it is. Once established, existence alone is, I am that existence also has to be understood here. So unreality of the duality is recognized firmly by recognizing the unreality, I'm using word, the unreality of the duality is recognized, whereas the reality of the Advaita, non-duality is established. Once you establish, Stairye tasyam, having firm abidance in this knowledge, sthiram. So, Esha Jivan Mukta iti, one who has done that man, that Esha, that human being who has recognized that he has become Jivan Muktaha, liberated, veil living in this world. So he still have a BMI, but he is able to use the discriminative intellect to gain the knowledge. So this knowledge will never leave him. That's what he said, right? Once you have established that, he will be firmly abiding in this knowledge. He says, how do you say so? So he is quoting now from the Bhagavad Gita. Next sloka. Yesha brahmi sthiti partha, Yesha brahmi sthiti partha, nainam prapya vimukhyati, nainam prapya vimukhyati, sthitva syamantakalepi, brahma nirvana muchyati, brahma nirvana muchyati. Together. Yesha brahmi sthiti partha, nainam prapya vimukhyati, sthitva syamantakalepi, brahma nirvana muchyati. Where this is?
Chapter 2, the last one.
See, chapter 2, last one. Last sloka of the Sankhya. So that is the section. So this first part, if you look at it, is essentially Krishna himself is saying that Esha Brahmi Sthitihi. Brahmi Sthiti means this is Sthita Prajna, the one who is firmly abiding in this understanding that Aham Brahmasmi, the Esha Brahmi Sthiti, in that state of Jivan Mukti status. Say, Na enam prapya vimukhyati. So this knowledge can never be removed away. Once you understood, then it will be, once you have gained that, na mukhyati, is never deluded at all. So moha will not be there, right? Nashto moha smriti, that's the end of the Gita. But here, once I understood, moha means delusion. What is the delusion? Delusion is taking the illusion as real. So illusion, the plurality that I see is real, that will not be there anymore, because once I understood it's not really real. What is real is only Brahman. Once I have knowledge, Krishna himself declared that this, again you will never become ignorant, once you have gained the knowledge. Okay, that is called Brahmi Sthiti. That means abiding in the nature that I am Brahman. That is Brahmi Sthiti. That's the first part. That's therefore he is supporting his statement that once you have written Jivan Mukta, it will never, again, you will never get back the ignorance that you have before. And the second one part of this sloka is going to be analyzed now. It says, Stitvasya mantakalepi brahma nirvana muchyati. Krishna made a declaration, even if you gain this knowledge in the last minute, antakalepi brahma nirvana muchyati, you will gain this, will get established in the Brahman. So what do I then? That means there is no more punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. That's the end of the story. So here now, antakalepi, even in the last minute. So what is the last minute? First he is going to analyze from his point what is the antakalam means. In the next two slokas. Sadadvaite nrute dvaite, sadadvaite nrute dvaite, yadanyonyaikya vikshanam, yadanyonyaikya vikshanam, tasyantakalastadveda, stantakalastadveda, buddhireva nachetaraha, buddhireva nachetaraha. Actually, Veda Buddhi, I am splitting here. Together, sadadvaite nrute dvaite, sadadvaite nrute dvaite, yadanyonyaikya vikshanam, yadanyonyaikya vikshanam, tasyantakalastadveda, tasyantakalastadveda, buddhireva nachetaraha, buddhireva nachetaraha. So, Sat Advaite, Anruti Dvaite. So, Sat Advaite, Anruti, this is Sat, Asat, all together mixed. This is what Adhyasa Bhashya Shankaracharya starts with. So in everyone there are two things. In every perception, every object that I see, there are always two things. One is the real part and unreal part. That is called Satyam, and Anurtam is called Mithunikaranam. That's how he defines the Adhyasa Bhashya of the Brahma Sutra. Shankara defines as Satyanuta Mithunikaranam Adhyasam. So what is that? In everything that I am seeing two things, one and the other, and in that one is real and another is unreal. So that they cannot be separated here, and therefore this is, I have to intellectually separate it. So Sad Advaite, Anrute, Dvaite, once I have recognized that Advaita, the Dvaita, the duality or polarity is unreal, and what is real is only the Sat, which is Advaitam, that pervades everywhere. Once I understood it, that Anyonya Vichanam, seeing oneness from the other, that means two things are there. By using Viveka, I understood that the existence alone is the real part, and the other part is only a Mithya part. Once I have that, when I understood at that time, that is my Antakalam. That means when I realized that as is, Tasya Antakale Tad Veda Buddhi Reva Nachedaraha. Tasya Antakalaha. So when my ignorance is gone away, even by living in this body, mind and intellect, when I understood that there is no more, that is my Antakalam. Why? Because there is no more ego left. So Antakalam is only when the ego itself is died. That means the mind has done its business, everything has done. Krutakrityaha. The whole thing is, life itself is fulfilled, so there's nothing else to do. So he does not really live anymore as a jiva. He lives as Brahmavid, Brahmayava Bhauti. He lives as a Brahman only, occupying local entity. So his transactions will be, from the understanding wise, he is a Brahman. Transactionally, he will operate as though with the body, mind, intellect, but his understanding will never go away. So that's what is Antakalam he is defining here. So Tat Buddhi Vedaha Evana Itcha Itaraga. That's what it is, Buddhi Veda. There is nothing else. That understanding is what is implied by Antakalam. By the, when you say final moments, this is the real final moments. Other thing is only, there is never final, because the body is living, but still you are alive. Because Jiva is going one loka to other loka, that will never end. That will end only when the Jnanam. So that is the real Antakalam. Therefore, that's what the true Antakalam is. That's what is here, Vidyaranya is defining. But is it what Krishna meant by Antakalam? Antakalam is a Mameva. So that, if you really analyze it, Krishna is different. It means because Antakaleshu means Mameva, if he doesn't have to say about this guy, because this guy is already realized, there is nothing to say about it. But the one who is leaving this prana, when he recognizes, then he has no more take another birth. That's what is the normal understanding. And that's what also he is going to tell us that in the 105. Let's see if we can finish this today. Yadvantakala pranasya viyogostu prasiddhitaha tasmin kalepi na bhrantehi gataya punaragamaha together. Yadvantakala pranasya viyogostu prasiddhitaha tasmin kalepi na bhrantehi gataya punaragamaha. So, yadi antakalaha pranasya. So, if you think that antakalam, this is the normal understanding of everybody, is prasiddhitaha. This is common understanding. This is well-known understanding, is when the antakalaha pranasya antakalaha, when the prana leaves, and if that thus knowledge occurs at that time, just before the jaws of the death. So if yogastu prasiddhitaha tasmin kale api, even that at that time also, once you have realized that I am that Brahman, tasmin kale api na bhrante gatayaha na puna agamaha. That Bhranti, na puna agamaha. Punaragamaha. That Bhranti, the delusion will not come again to you. Even if I realize that Antakala Yeshimameva, if you have think of me as what? Me as you. There is no difference between me and you. That has to be understood as from the Advaitic point. So it can also be applied as common understanding, as if one recognizes in the last minute this. So why do we have to attend all this? All we have to do is in the last minute we have to recognize, and that's the end of the story. But you cannot recognize it unless you have been thinking of this all along. That is the problem. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Advaitame Mishata Manasraja Hamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavata Pittai Kanta Avarodan Krutos Maranam Kutaste. This is what Kulashekar Alvar says. In the last minute, I don't know what my state is. And he's going to tell about what his state is in the next sloka. But therefore, I had to keep that meaning all the time so that in the last minute also I get this. Now, if the Mahatma having realized, suppose he is go through all sorts of physical problems and all other problems, what is that state? Will he get back? All that is going to be addressed in the next sloka. Niroga upavishto va rugno va viluthan bhava rigno va viluthan bhavi rug
Last one is bhuvi. BH. Yeah. Last one is bhuvi.
is it? Bhuvi is it? Okay. I don't know why I wrote. Niroga upavishto va rugno va vilutan bhuvi murchito va tyajetvesha pranan bhrantirna sarvadha Bhrantirna sarvadha. Together. Niroga upavishto va rugvo va viluthan bhuvi murchito va tyajeshesha pranan bhantirna sarvadha. No, nirogaha, without, whether you don't have any roga is not there. So when you are healthy and suddenly he died. So when you pass, he has already become jnani. So if a jnani, Jivan Mukta dies suddenly with the healthy body also, but something happens. Upavistova, he may be sitting and then kicking the bucket. Or Rugnova, he may having some kind of disease and dies out of disease. Vilutan Bhavi, Vilutan is rolling on the earth, so he may have a painful and unbearable painting and rolling on the bed or on the ground or something. Even that can be there can be the death. Murchitova can be die in a coma. Chajatu Yesha, when in whatever form he leaves this body. So pranan, na bhranti sarvada, he will never get deluded again. So once you have realized, irrespective how the body goes, because the prarabdha will dictate after jnanam, why is he living there? There is no reason for him to live because the purpose is gone. But the body which is essentially born out of prarabdha will keep the body going. It's his own prarabdha, also samishti prarabdha, because there are people who need that kind of teacher now. And they are waiting for the teacher, and Lord is saying, hey, this is body is available already, why should I come back in a different way? I can use this body to teach. So Lord blesses with the five Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu we call it. So pranan bhranti nasarvada. So in whatever form he dies, it doesn't matter. He has realized this truth. This is what we did in the Brahmasura, in the Yajnavalkya. When a crystal goes into and becomes one with the whole ocean, it becomes and it never gets back again. So how can this knowledge not be available? Is it available in the dream state and deep sleep state and all that? analyzing in the next sloka. Dine dine swapna suptoho, dine dine swapna suptyoho, adhite vismrute pyayam, adhite vismrute pyayam, pare durnana dhitasyat, pare durnana dhitaha syat, tadvad vidyana nasyati, tadvad vidyana nasyati. Together. Dine dine swapna suptyoho, adhite vismute pyayam, pare durnana dhitasyat, tadvad vidyana nasyati. So it says, now every day I am studying chemistry. I have become an expert in chemistry. Dine, every day, daily I am studying it. Swapne suptyo. What happens when I go to dream state and a deep sleep state? All that chemistry that I learned is gone. Nothing will happen. You go to dream state and deep sleep and come back. When you come back, all that chemistry is again available for you. Therefore, just as any other knowledge you have gained by studying intensely, by that will never get lost. Just because you went to a dream state and a deep sleep state where you are not aware of either chemistry knowledge or any other knowledge that you have. Because there you are not a professor of chemistry there when you are in deep sleep state, right? So, but you can become, as soon as you get up, all the knowledge is become available. So in the same way, nothing is lost in any of the previous, whether it is a murcha, whether this or that, all those states are nothing to do with this. Knowledge is remaining in the mind itself. So essentially, pare dyuhu, the next day we remember the knowledge of this truth. And I think some lady is coming for the next class. You can ask her to come inside. Tadvat vidyananasyate. So therefore, this vidya is never get lost because of that. We have some more time. Okay, let's see if we can do it. 2 minutes. Pramanotpadita vidya, pramanotpadita vidya, pramanam prabhalam vina, pramanam prabhalam vina, nanasyati na vedantat, nanasyati vedantat, prabhalam manamichyate, prabhalam manamichyate. Together, pramanotpadita vidya, pramanam prabhalam vina, nanasyati na vedantat, prabhalam manamichyate. Suddenly he deviates a little bit from the whole structure. He says, pramanam, this Vedanta pramanam is called prabhala pramanam. There are prabhala pramanam, durbala pramanam. Prabhala means very strong means of knowledge, prabhalam. And why it's prabhalam? Because there are several pramanas available, pratyaksha and anumana, all those things are there. There are 6 pramanas are there, of which pratyaksha pramanam is prabhala pramanam. It is because I don't need anything else to prove that this pramanam has to be negated. Or whereas anumana and all that, I need to confirm it by pratyaksha pramanam. Right? Where there is a smoke out there, there is a fire coming, how do you know? Because by pratyaksha pramana, validation of the data, by direct perceiving, I have established in the past a relation between the smoke and this one. So all other pramanas are based on pratyaksha pramana as validating, and that's called prabhala pramana. All other called durbala pramana, weaker pramanas. Whereas Vedanta, I don't need any other pramana because Vedanta is also prabhala pramana, and therefore there is nothing we can negate with any other way, and that is nanasyati na vedantat prabhalam manamichyate. So it is a prabhala, it's not a durbala pramanam. So by Vedantic understanding, I have gained this knowledge, therefore it remains. It cannot be dismissed by any other means of knowledge. That's what is essentially implication. So that way, therefore, this knowledge stays once I have developed that viveka. Tasmat Vedanta samsiddhim, Tasmat Vedanta Samsiddhim Sadadvaitam na Badhyati Sadadvaitam na Badhyati Antakale Pyato Bhata Antakale Pyato Bhuta Vivekan Nirvrutis Nirvrutistita Vivekan Nirvrutistita together. Tasmat Vedanta Samsiddhim Sadadvaitam na Badhyati Antakale Pyato Bhuta Vivekan Nirvrutistita. So Tasmat, therefore he is concluding the whole chapter. Tasmat, therefore, Vedanta Samsiddhim, one that is Siddhim, Samsiddhim, that is being established by the Vedanta. Sat Advaitam na Bhadyati, that understanding that Sat alone is real, absolutely real. The existence alone is the absolute real, and that cannot be Nabhadyati, that cannot be negated by any other means of knowledge. Antakalepi, even in at the time of death, says Api, Bhuta Vivekat. So Bhuta Vivekat Nirvrutihi Sthita. So the Vivekam that I have gained, this whole Panchabhuta Viveka that I have understood by this analysis of this chapter, that what is real and what is unreal in all these five elements, as well as the cross elements, subtle elements, everything else, that is Nirvutistitaha, that abidance in the knowledge that this is Advaita will be there once I have firmly understood using the Vedanta as a pramana. So nothing can dismiss this knowledge. If it is dismissing, that means I have not understood only, not firmly established in that. With that, we are completing the chapter, second chapter, and the third chapter involves Panchakosha Viveka. We will take up from the next week. You can say Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.